Howdy ho, Outrage crew. What in the fuck is up with you? We just ticked over to Friday, April 12th, 2019. We're here, fresh off the stage at the fourth wall. We got natty lights in the fridge. Oh, lovely day, ladies and gentlemen. Heaven is back. She's got a job.
Yay!
All right. We're here doing what we can, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it was not such a good day for Julian Assange. He kind of looks like, I don't know, the hack. Like if Santa Claus hacked computers for a living, he had that. He had that beard going, dude. Man,
Oh my goodness gracious.
he had, he was getting roughed up, man. The UK coppers there yanking him out of the embassy in London. For all of the evil crimes that he's committed in telling the truth about corrupt individuals in government. How dare he actually do what journalists are supposed to do and report the truth instead of lapdogging professionally for the Democratic Party? How dare he expose the evils of Hillary Clinton? What an evil Russian bigot. All right, I know he's Swedish, but now he's been branded as Russian by the Democratic Party because anybody who disagrees with you is either a racist or a Russian. Sometimes they're racist and Russian.
Just tell him to slow down. It's not Russian.
Oh my God. Heaven's making dad jokes. I was up at the fourth wall tonight. What up, Mr. Chipperson? Was talking about whiteness and the intricacies therein, because it's the big issue of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Are white people the scum of the earth? Are they automatically racist for existing? Have they committed all of the evils in history? These are the big pressing questions facing our nation. And, the big pressing question facing the white leftists are whether or not they should keep their cocks. Very confusing for them, because it's the ultimate symbol of toxic fucking straight white male masculinity is when they look down between their legs and see a cock there. And so a lot of them are opting for the choice of removing it, all right, and immediately becoming progressive with that with that act there. You immediately become progressive once you chop your cock off and try to play in the WNBA. Well, white men can't jump in the NBA, but comparatively in the WNBA, we can get close. All right? We might be able to cross a few bitches up, back them down on the block, give a little shimmy shake, live out our hoop dreams. All right? A lot of the, if they're not going the school shooter route or the serial killer route, they're going for the chop the cock route. And it's all very sad. It's all very sad. It's all part of the cultural Marxist agenda to convince the white people to hate themselves, convince them that they invented slavery. And I choose to not play into the guilt, ladies and gentlemen. It was not me who owned the slaves. I'm here trying to contribute back to the black community by throwing my dick Black women's way.
Wow.
I'm making alliances in the black community.
How did I know you were going to say that? That's the worst part. I knew you were going to say that.
All right, I didn't take part in the Native American genocide. All right.
You weren't there? I thought you were standing next to Bob. What do you mean?
I mean, somebody who probably looked like me did. All right. This is a very 18th century haircut that I've got going on here, and but one of my best friends in high school was a Native American dude, and he got his reparations for the Native American genocide against me in basketball camp when he mock sexually assaulted me
That's horrendous.
on the outside of my sleeping bag there.
That's the worst thing ever.
And everybody called him the diesel, and he used his name as a verb. Somebody was getting dieseled, and at one point it happened to be me. All right, so he was, the Indian casinos weren't enough for him. All right, he had to bring down those big chieftain hips on the outside of my sleeping bag and scare all of me and my white teammates into submission. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not guilty and we're not proud of our whiteness.
Tell him what happened to him, though. Tell him what happened.
The diesel?
Yes, where's Diesel now?
Well, I Googled the diesel once I got out of school. You Google your own, your high school friends and whatnot, see what they're doing now. Well, the diesel, he ended up going to jail. You guessed it. For rape. All right, he was hanging out at a bonfire party, crept upstairs to the lady who was running it, who apparently had gone to sleep, cuddled up behind her, and she said it in court what he whispered in her ear. He said, "I'm going to eat that pussy like cold pizza." What up, Skeezer? Now, that's definitely not a compliment to eating the pussy. First of all, we don't know if he penetrated, raped. It's equally as threatening because you don't know what's coming next when a rape is occurring. But if all that happens during a rape is you get your pussy eaten,
Oh my god.
it could have been worse.
Oh my god. You didn't have to say those words out loud. But if he's eating it like it's cold pizza, that's probably worse. That means he's making drunk sounds. He's not doing right.
It's not a compliment to the pussy when you're eating it like, maybe if you're eating it like fresh pizza out of the oven,
That's amazing.
you're really enjoying it. But cold pizza is like, it's there, so you're eating it.
Yeah.
It's
Have other options.
it's just around, you didn't feel like walking to the 7-Eleven. I'm gonna eat the pussy,
Yeah.
So that's what happened to old Diesel. I think he's released now. He was giving me some collect calls from jail,
Really?
Yeah.
You were talking to a rapist?
He's not a rapist, he's my friend.
That's your friend's rapist.
He's my friend, the rapist. All right?
Okay, and just to be clear.
But that doesn't excuse the Native American genocide, all right?
It doesn't excuse rape either. Rape is not okay. I've been there.
But like I was saying on stage, the genocide is overplayed in the Native American thing. I mean, 90% of them died out from smallpox before the Europeans even hit the shore. And the rest of them pretty much couldn't hold their whiskey. And it's very unfortunate, but it's a metabolism issue more than a white devil issue. But yeah, it's, the self-hating white leftists, they really make it hard to get on the white people team. Because they're just so annoying. They're just like Kyle Korver, this NBA player who looks like a slightly retarded version of Ashton Kutcher. He, he wrote a slightly retarded article about how how privileged he feels as a white man in the NBA. And I said, if there's one sector of society where you should recognize that you don't have any goddamn privilege, it's being a white guy in the NBA. How many times do you have to get dunked on? How many times do you have to get crossed up? How many times do you have to get swatted out of bounds? LeBron James' balls are in your mouth, and you're like, that's a privilege. Blah, 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 blah.
Sweaty balls. Ew.
That is just the height of white guilt, ladies and gentlemen. Can't get on board with it.
Speaking of sweaty balls, have you guys ever thought about why who the first person is that thought about teabagging? Who was like, you know what? What if I just squat over your face and take my balls and go,
Is that how they teabag?
Yes.
I thought it was in the mouth. Is it on the forehead?
No, it's usually on the forehead.
Well, teabagging it would imply that you drip it, you drop it into some kind of liquid.
Oh.
So that would be, but that's a risky endeavor because, you know, teabagging, they could wake up and clamp down.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be fun.
Well, they hazed a guy I went to high school with. I won't say his name, but they hazed him in baseball and they teabagged him. People got suspended. I think someone got expelled. It was bad.
Nobody can have any fun anymore. God, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
That's pretty bad.
yeah, he was held down.
You can't really come back from that. I mean,
But I'm not gonna lie.
I don't care how good your batting average is. If you're always going to be the guy who got teabagged.
He was from that point on. And mind you, I'm not gonna lie, he still didn't deserve it, but he was a dick anyway. So it's kind of like, this is bound to happen to you because you're kind of a dick. Not saying he deserved it, he didn't, but. Sorry, bro.
You're kind of a dick, and now you're known for balls.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm doing full Monty, okay. Full shebang.
And I don't trust white women either. I can't do it.
Oh my god. Don't trust your mom?
My mom's a good woman.
You don't trust your sister?
Sister's a good woman. But, you know, first time I ever had sex was this white theater chick.
Oh my god.
You know, I was 20 years old.
She broke him.
And 20 minutes before we had sex, she had a 20-minute conversation with her boyfriend on the phone. It was very traumatic. All right. She was complaining to him about all the shit he wasn't doing around the house. He was out of town or some shit. She was like, you need to take out the trash more. You're not doing the dishes. Hangs up on him. I'm like, man, this is not going well. This is not going to fucking... I'm not getting anything out of this. She gets a call and she's like, oh, it's my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, great. I thought I was getting some pussy. She complains to him for 20 minutes and then immediately after she hangs up, she reaches back and grabs my dick. I'm like, bitch, you are roping me into some evil shit that you know I can't refuse. That's like some Godfather shit. An offer you can't refuse. Oh, of course, I'm going to be the nobleman who turns down my first piece of pussy. Oh, no, darling. Oh, I wouldn't want to participate in infidelity. Truthfully, I wouldn't have given a fuck if she was talking to him on FaceTime while we were fucking.
Oh my god.
That's the first piece of pussy I ever got. What do you expect?
You only got a piece of it?
I had a sampler plate.
Right?
All right. So that put it in my head. You can't trust the white women. All right.
How quickly did you come?
Well, it was a slow process because I had to figure out where the pussy hole was.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you just stuck it right in the slit there.
Are you kidding? He's not kidding.
You know, I think a lot of guys have had the same experience.
I'm so sorry.
You see the slit there, you see the opening, and you just try to go directly, you know, head first.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's understandable. That's watch an actual live YouTube. And that's okay. That's understandable. I can't be mad or even like judge you for that. That's fine. At least you're honest about it.
She did put it in for me. I did find the hole. I found it. All right. It took an Easter egg hunt, you know. I had the GPS on. But I put that pussy address in and it was found. But yeah, that's some of the shit I was talking about on stage tonight. Got to simplify my premises there and get everything clear to everybody. Yeah, what? Julian Assange. Did you see this picture of Julian Assange? He looks like... He looks like Gandalf if he was, you know, on the Lucky Charms box.
Oh.
And he looks like,
Is he okay?
he looks like if Elmer Fudd became a wizard.
He looks oh, poor baby. It just is like wispy, and then he did cotton balls and stuff into his face, and then went like this. It was like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
That's sad shit, man. All he did was post leaked Democratic National Convention emails that got leaked to him from a patriot named Seth Rich, all right, who was a Bernie supporter. Didn't appreciate the old shaft job they were giving Bernie at the DNC there.
Did you know you could say his name is Assange, the first two letters are ass? Like, shake that ass! Ha! Tell us what you...
I don't think he has much ass. He's a Swedish man who's very tall. You know, he was dating Pamela Anderson while he was living in the Ecuadorian embassy.
Wait, I'm so sorry. He was what?
Pamela Anderson paid him some possibly conjugal visits there. She's into the, you know, that string bean Swede.
He probably has a big dick, and he also probably eats pussy like it's warm pizza.
Oh.
That probably was happening.
And he's got the big beard there to tickle everything.
Oh, it's disgusting. Just that's... What? Ew. That no one's a tickler. That's gross.
He's a truth teller, goddammit. That's all that matters.
He's a tickler.
And this is the true face of government. This is what happens when you tell the truth on the criminals in government. You get banished into an embassy and then eventually dragged out like an animal.
Oh, poor thing.
And
Okay, no.
and you look like Elmer Fudd Gandalf. That's what happens.
God. He didn't have a razor?
You know, you got to prioritize.
I mean, but if you think you might get caught, you might be on camera, like, you have to, like, think ahead, guys.
But it's like, WikiLeaks is doing what actual journalism hasn't done for 40 years, which is speak truth to power and expose criminality in the government. Because the majority of people are too propagandized to see that the government is nothing but criminality. It's one big criminal organization. That's the only reason they exist, is because they mug your pockets. All right, and they reframe it as taxes, and then they have the men in small hats who are heavily circumcised at the Federal Reserve devalue your currency at the same time. All right, it's a very nefarious, dark, deceitful organization. All right, and once people recognize the, I was talking about this with some people outside the mic today about how, in order to recognize what's really going on with Donald Trump, you have to recognize how fundamentally corrupt and fucked up the systems of government we have are in the country. First, you have to recognize that taxation is theft. It just is. Right? That some people willingly pay taxes, you know, all that is they started getting raped and halfway through they decided they liked it. But the majority of people don't want to pay taxes, but they have to involuntarily. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called rape. So you recognize that taxation is theft. You know, capitalism is lovemaking. Taxation is rape. So you recognize that, and you have the fundamental corruption. And then on top of that, once they steal your money, they waste it to the tune of, $22 trillion in debt. And big, wasteful, inefficient systems like the welfare state and Social Security. These Ponzi schemes they get us in, all these foreign wars that have led to nothing beneficial for America. That's what your money gets spent on. And the fundamental assumption is like, well, I'm going to let them steal my money because they can spend it better than I can. I'm going to let AOC, a 29-year-old retarded valley girl who's somehow from Brooklyn, she knows how to spend my money better than I do. Bernie Sanders, an 80-year-old communist who combs his hair with a balloon, he knows what's best for my money. That's the fundamental assumption. So you recognize the corruption at the root of it, and then layered on top of it is the inefficiency, the murder that's called warfare. There's the theft that's called taxation. There's the murder that's called warfare. And once you recognize that system is fundamentally corrupt, and it's been getting more and more corrupt and more bloated, more and more out of control, then you understand the response to Trump as a legitimate outsider candidate who wants to come in and reform the economy and wants to come in and cut the government inefficiency. He's coming in with a business mind state of like, what's not working here? We got to drain the swamp. We got to stop these foreign wars. It's all the things he ran on in his campaign. And so, of course, the mainstream media that's bought off by all the same special interests that buy off the establishment corrupt-ass politicians, of course, all these late-night hosts that get their agenda handed down from the Democratic Party, all of these fake leftists that go along with this big government system that they benefit from, all of these big leftist tech companies that benefit from all the tax breaks and beneficial legislation and ability to cut out their competition through regulation and whatnot, and killing small business, killing their competition. They don't want that system to be cut off. So Donald Trump represents a fundamental threat to their existence as a legitimate outsider with a business mind state coming in and trying to reform the system. And so, of course, the mainstream media is going to trash Donald Trump 24 hours a day. All of the late night host monologues are going to be trashing Trump. All of the celebrities who want to toe the leftist agenda, they're coming out and trashing Trump. Of course. All these intelligence agencies that have committed these large-scale crimes, like the NSA just openly violating everybody's Fourth Amendment rights and just throwing it in your face. Of course. Hillary Clinton trying to sell the country out through her Clinton Foundation, making these backdoor deals on her private server and trying to delete all the evidence when she's getting investigated. Of course. They don't want an outsider coming in with a business mindset that's going to root out the problems. And so, of course, they're going to trash him at every turn, at every opportunity. But if you look at it on the surface, you're like, oh my God, this whole system is against this one guy. There must be something fucked up about Donald Trump. Everybody hates him. And then, of course, Donald Trump, he's hilarious, but in the view of the people that think that he's the fucked up one in the equation, he plays right into it by being this bombastic, narcissistic, basically bully, asshole character. And so they're like, oh, of course, he's the fucked up one in the equation. It's not, the intelligence agencies. It's not the mainstream media. It's not Hillary Clinton. It's not this big corrupt deep state complex that's a giant swelling tick on the neck of the American public that's just not providing anyone any benefit and siphoning off the resources from the tax-paying public. It's not those people. It's something wrong with Donald Trump. But in order to realize that, you have to fundamentally reevaluate everything you've thought about society previously. And be like, oh, well, shit, I guess I've been lied to my entire life, all through public school, all through university, all in the mainstream media. What up, Vanessa? I'm not doing anything on purpose. I'm just going straight off the top of the dome with Dragon Energy and Natty Light. She said, am I doing the Schenk Uger? Of course. Sometimes you get into that rant cadence. You just got to let it fly, Another beer, ladies and gentlemen, shall be cracked. But no, I never watched the Young Turks because they're just sycophantic leftists that supported Hillary Clinton. They don't have anything interesting to say. They're just rife with Trump derangement syndrome, and they deny the Armenian genocide there. The Young Turds. Yeah, I watched that. What's that chick's name? Anna Kasparian on Rogan. She is fucking unbearable. She is just an empty-headed leftist kook. Watch the 2016 election meltdown once every few months. It's a good refresher. Just to watch. That's what I was talking about. In order to not react like that, like those weirdos did, oh my God, it's the apocalypse. In order to not react like that, you have to have the knowledge that your entire society is built around propagandizing you into accepting the government's existence. That's why Trump is the litmus test for, can you think critically? Are you skeptical of the most fucked up parts of society? Because the people who are and realize the fundamental nature of government is coercion and theft and the threat of violence. The people who do realize that, they sat back like I did with a tall boy beer and a cigar and laughed their fucking ass off on election night. Because it's just delicious to see these control freak tyrants melt down. Oh, it's so delicious. Aaron Freeman says, is Julian Assange arrest bad news for Trump? Well, I think so, because, I don't know, it's going to be handled through the UK government, right? So, I don't know but is he going to be prosecuted in America? Or I don't know how that's going to work. Whether or not Trump can pardon him or not. Does anybody know how that works? Can Trump pardon him? I don't know if Trump will, because Trump's had some weird shit to say about Julian Assange. now that he's got into the presidency, because those military-industrial complex fuckos are just whispering in Trump's ear like, oh, we can't let him get away with that. He exposed criminality in the government. What if he exposes our criminality? And it's like, you're doing criminal shit? What? Of course, we steal everybody's tax money. What do you think, we're just trying to do good for the country? He can pardon him? Well, that would be a good look. You know, and the left would be like, oh, that's the proof of Russian collusion. The Russian propaganda outlet WikiLeaks, you know, we loved them when they exposed corruption under Bush, but exposing it under Obama is just... exposing Hillary Clinton it's way too... Now you're a Russian. Okay, he's coming over here. Yeah, this whole talking point that WikiLeaks is this Russian-controlled asset now is so just stupid. There's no evidence of that. They tried to connect the fake Russian hack story with the WikiLeaks, and they desperately just didn't want you to go and actually read the WikiLeaks. It's like, yeah, it makes the Democratic Party look terrible. That doesn't mean that Vladimir Putin was sitting back like, oh, yes, Julian Assange, do my bidding. It's retarded. But they had to have that Russian conspiracy cover story in order to take away from the actual truth, which is WikiLeaks said their source was Seth Rich, and Seth Rich was murdered at 4 a.m. in Washington, D.C., on the streets there, in a botched robbery where they took none of his valuables. So that story was very troubling for the, the leftist tyrants there. And so we've got to sweep that under the rug and have this gigantic mainstream media push for 2+ years about Russia collusion in order to distract from what's really fucking going on, ladies and gentlemen. The sleight of hand of the wizards, the tyrant wizards. Ironically, Julian Assange looks like a wizard, and he's getting, taken down by the actual wizards, spinning up lies in the DNC there. Conjuring up black magic with their spirit cooking. Ooh, Aleister Crowley. How dare Julian Assange expose our demonic ceremonies? We need to have our eyes wide shut parties in secret. John Podesta said there's 3 children under the age of 10 waiting in the hot tub for your enjoyment. All was popping off, Archer. How the fuck you feeling on a Friday morning? We're here talking about Assange. We're talking about white guilt and white pride, and how I have neither of them. I mean, if anything instills white pride in me, it's that Julian Assange can hook up with Pamela Anderson. All right. I know Pamela Anderson's had a lot of plastic surgery done. She kind of looks like, she's getting to look like Michael Jackson with a blonde wig on. But in her day, man, she was fucking rocking. Oh, shit. I know about that cranberry vodka. I've been on that before, dude. What up, Burgess? What up, Playboy? Burgess, have you taken your daily dose of white guilt? Are you feeling bad for slavery today? Are you feeling bad for the Native American genocide? Are you feeling bad for, starting the smallpox virus that enveloped the Native Americans? All right. Are you feeling bad for giving the Native Americans whiskey? All right. You should. You need to go and spend your entire paycheck at an Indian casino because they deserve it. Pam is a tranny. I don't know about that, bro. I saw the sex tape. It's getting windy here. Let me shut a window. Oh, blustery days out here in Los Angeles. Oh yeah, Pam was sucking on that Tommy Lee hog, you know, all over the internet. Oh yeah, she was that original super bombshell, dude. Pam Anderson, that was my go-to, you know. I used to get all hot and bothered as a 10, 11-year-old watching, you know, old reruns of Baywatch. She was banging. Aaron Freeman says, I feel bad for injustice against indigenous people. Well, you gotta put the blame where it lies, on the smallpox virus and on the metabolism there of the whiskey. Very unfortunate that white people get blamed for it, you know, but shit happens. I know there was a lot of fighting back and forth, but at a certain point it's inevitable when, you know, you move in and there's a mostly blank you know, patch of dirt here in North America, and the remnants of the people who haven't died from smallpox left haven't invented the wheel yet, or the gun, you know, so it was kind of inevitable. But 2019 white people, they just sit around and whip themselves in the back. Oh, it's a genocide. Oh. This is the propaganda you're taught in public school. That's why you got to homeschool. You got to keep your kids out of the brain cancer centers. Because once you get that guilt complex, it's hard to give up. All right, then you start hating Donald Trump and you get obsessed with his Twitter feed and you try to be the first one to respond to all of his tweets and say the snarkiest and most retarded thing and get a bunch of retweets, you know. And you get, before you know it, you got Trump derangement syndrome and you're looking at your cock wondering whether or not to keep it. You know, they say there's this big transgender agenda, and it's like, oh, it's a new, like, thing in the LGBT community. Oh, it's a new movement. Trans people, they have to be accepted. Really, what the trans movement seems to be is a bunch of white dudes chopping their cocks off. That's the majority of what's happening. And we're not on board with that here at Outrage TV. Keep your cock, ride out the waves that the communists are making. All right, you'll make it. Okay? Just stop watching the porn and stop tugging at it. All right? Get to the gym and do some squats. You and your cock are going to be all right. Anonymous Anarchy says they're trying to normalize pedophilia. Yeah, the trans kid thing is definitely heading toward that direction. And also the whole what was it called? Cross-dressing story time. What was it? I know it's in my Google search history because Alex Jones was talking about it. Drag Queen Story Time, I think is what it was. It's like these dudes who dress up like, these glittery demon women. And one of them they found out, a couple of them I think they found out were registered pedophiles going around to elementary schools reading to little kids. It's the progressive agenda. They gotta be normalized. You can be transgender too. But like this whole, like, letting your 6-year-old decide what gender they are, it's super fucking creepy. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but I'm 40 minutes into the podcast. It's time for the most disrespectful part of the podcast. The federal outrage flow being presented by the chancellor here on the podcast. I'm going to go and I'm going to leave the door open like a goddamn savage. You know how I do. I'm going to let y'all listen in. Please rate it out of 10. I'm going to come back and talk about the trans kid debauchery. All right. BRB. Alrighty. Yeah, so it's just absurd that we're letting 6-year-olds make decisions that are going to affect the rest of their entire lives. Like, when did we start giving a fuck what 6-year-olds wanted to do with the rest of their life? Like, when I was 6 years old, I had already decided I was going to play in the NBA. All right, that's a big fucking commitment. If I would have been held to that commitment and forced to go through and follow through with that, I would still, right now, as a 6'2", moderately athletic white man, I would still be in, trying to rock it, trying to make the practice squad in the D-League, getting dunked on and fucking swatted out of bounds, crossed up, dude, tearing my fucking ACL every year, getting carried off the court, and my teammates like, man, you need to give this shit up. And I'm like, no, it's my dream. I committed to it. I can't do anything else. It's a big fucking commitment. It's like these parents are just, using their kids, turning their kids into little mutants in order to have progressive points at their cocktail parties. Oh, your son's gay and he's 9 years old? That's not shit. We just gave our 6-year-old boy a new vagina and a fresh pair of fake titties, okay? And they got little mutant kids walking around with big fake titties. Horrific. It's these goddamn leftist weirdos, dude. Next thing is going to be the real trans kids of Beverly Hills. What up, Chungus? The real trans kids of Beverly Hills. Let's take it to the reality show, man. We just got Timmy some fake titties for his birthday. His Instagram page is blowing the fuck up. We invited a bunch of homies from his Instagram page who liked it, and just a bunch of mid-30s black dudes show up because they like little Timmy's ass. Yo, we just came to pay our respects, little Timmy. But it's sexualizing little kids. You know, they got them prancing around on Good Morning America. Like, oh, this is a new thing. 6-year-olds don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just trying to impress their parents. You know? And you got these creepy parents who are like, yeah, that would be super progressive if we got you hormones. Oh, let's do it. Six-year-olds don't know what the fuck they're doing, man. Leave the kids alone. Yeah, that's not going to be a nightmare when they get in it, when they start to hit puberty. There's not going to be any rebellion there. Mom, I decided I want to be a boy again. Too late, Timmy. We've already got your cock chop operation scheduled for Wednesday. You committed. You're a woman now. Dude, if you thought not letting your teenager smoke weed led to a rebellion, wait till you convince them to chop their cock off and then they want it back. You know. That's why I support the reality show. Put it up on TV and let everybody see how fucked up and crazy it is, and so it can be discouraged. Burgess loves Alex Jones. I love me some Alex Jones, man. That's, you know, he was one of the few people reporting honestly about the WikiLeaks during the campaign. He's one of the main reasons Trump got elected, because he just exposed some of the creepiest shit that was in the WikiLeaks, and some of the Hillary Clinton getting the debate questions from CNN, all the backdoor speeches she was giving to the banks, you know, all the bullshit about deleting the emails, all the creepy pedophile language with Podesta, Obama wanting $20,000 worth of hot dogs shipped to the White House, you know. Nothing weird there. Yeah, there's only 2 genders. Sorry to tell you. Sorry to let you know. But there is a spectrum of masculinity and femininity within the genders. That's why you get gay people and lesbians. I mean, there's definitely masculine women, all right? Michelle Obama. There's definitely feminine men. Barack Obama. You know, there's a spectrum there. And I just think, you know, they're glorifying what could very well be a mental illness that comes from sexual trauma in these trans people. You know, they got a contestant in the Miss Universe contest who actually is currently Miss Spain, is a trans woman. It's like, first of all, the women of Spain got to step their game up. You just let a dude chop his cock off and be like, I can do better than you bitches. I can look prettier than you. It's like, oh my God. The fuck is happening? These other women got to stand up and be like, this bitch doesn't even bleed every month. What does she know about looking pretty? But you rarely see it the other way around. That's why it's not this old gender bending phenomenon. It's like, it's dudes who hate their own, who've been taught to hate their own masculinity. Because you rarely see the trans man. You rarely see the woman that transitions over to a man and tries to compete with men at man shit. That might happen one time and then it's over. Like, you might see one trans man try out for an NFL team and it's going to be like, today a very inspiring story turned tragic in training camp. When Mark, formerly Maggie, tried to run a slant route over the middle and got separated from her newly crafted surgical penis. It was a bloody, destructive scene. Turns out she couldn't play with the boys after all. You know? And it's also an excuse for dudes who can't compete with other dudes to chop their cocks off and win some track and field events. You know? Win some MMA fights. It's that Juwanna Man. Juwanna Man used to be, you know, a funny satire comedy about a dude who puts on a wig and dominates the WNBA after he couldn't hack it in the real NBA. That used to be a funny satire movie, but now they're going to look back in history and be like, huh, interesting documentary. Really captured the times. Birdie says they talk about gender as they admit themselves gender is a social construct. Heh, so they're just sexes. Yeah, there's supposedly no difference between men and women. You know, they deny all of the physical differences between men and women's brains. And that, you know, how that leads to different professions and, you know, lends to explaining the quote-unquote gender pay gap. You know, it's just a different facility for different occupations. Women are generally, you know, good at people stuff, interacting with other people, and childcare and you know, elementary school teaching and, you know, everything that has to do with kids and empathy and whatnot. And men are good at taking risks, all right, which is why they get paid more. They're good at staying up, you know, 18 hours a day and working on an oil rig, you know. And so there are different predilections based on the different ways our brains are wired as men and women. But in order to accept transgenderism, you have to say, oh, that's a woman born into a man's body. So it's a man with a woman's brain. Well, I thought there was no such thing as women's brains. Well, it suits our agenda now, so there is. There's no logical consistency to it. It's just pushing the envelope. They're trying to just, it's really like, I don't know that many leftist people that are actually comfortable around transgender people. I mean, or has them as good friends. Like, it's just like a political pawn they use to push the agenda into further and further debauchery and subversion, just to make normal people feel uncomfortable by normalizing insanity. Oh yeah, there's obvious physical differences between men and women. It's bone structure, you know, it's endocrine system. I mean, you run on testosterone and you run on estrogen. I mean, shit's gonna be a little different. I identify as a Puerto Rican disabled midget. All right, and I expect you all to address me as such. All right. I feel like my YouTube page is going to really going to take off once people recognize my, oppressed status as a disabled Puerto Rican midget. I'm a disabled Puerto Rican midget who was born in the body of a 6'2" Aryan man. And it's really unfortunate that everybody thinks I'm walking around and everybody thinks I'm privileged. Everybody thinks I had it easy. They don't know that deep down inside I'm a disabled Puerto Rican midget. So please support me as I enter into the Special Olympics and dominate. Dude, I would dominate the Special Olympics. Well, there's Nick Jordan on the podium again. He says he's a disabled Puerto Rican midget, and we don't want to offend anybody, so we agree. We wouldn't want to offend any of our advertisers. Nick Jordan, he's very oppressed because he told us that he is. So we accept it. Skeezer, you on that sandwich artistry, dude. I see you. You on that craftsmanship, putting together them sandwiches. I don't normally even fuck with sandwiches because I love bread to death. But anytime I eat carbs, I gotta work out before I do it. It's a rule I have. So, anytime I work out, I want to really indulge. So I don't usually go for the sandwich route. I go for, eating a whole pizza and a pint of ice cream to get filled up back on my glycogen. What up, Sweet Chin? Yeah, the logical conclusion to transgenderism is you can decide whatever you are. So there's no difference between transgenderism and transracialism. Doesn't matter how you look. Doesn't matter what your genetics or your chromosomes say. I am a Nigerian black man. Okay? And I want to take advantage of these diversity quotas. I want to take advantage of affirmative action. I demand my rights because historically I've been disenfranchised. What up, Kali Yuga? Yeah, I think they're mentally ill gay people, trans people. And it's really the most disrespectful thing you can do. Like, people think that's disrespectful to say, but that's more accurate and more, it has more of a fidelity to the facts that we actually know than to celebrate it as like this new hot thing and Caitlyn Jenner's the woman of the year, and it's like that's demeaning to women and gay men that are very confused. Like, figure your shit out before you chop the cock off. Maybe try to get some sun. Maybe change your diet up before you chop the cock off. Maybe in the case of Caitlyn Jenner, stop running people over and killing them in your car. Maybe stop hanging around your psychotic family that parades you around on a reality show. Yeah, it is a super small percentage of the society, Skeezer, for sure. But it's pushed in the media, and I'm in Hollywood, so I see a lot of this weird shit going on. Oh, Kali Yuga, I would love to come to Portland and, talk shit to the leftists. That's what I'm used to out here in Hollywood, Sounds like it'd be fun. Like to get into some scuffles with some Antifa faggotry, meet them in the streets, I can't wait to go on tour, man. I can't wait to get hooked up on some kind of tour situation and come out, especially to the middle of the country, because I know they're craving some authenticity. I love to come out there and rock them, Still trying to work my way up the open mic scene out here, Stake my claim. Get on a team. Work my way into the Jewish conspiracy. Little by little, I make excuses for the Jews. I reference their IQ. I'm trying my hardest. Yeah, I don't want to stop gay people from doing anything in their lives. I think they should be able to do whatever they want, but they do. I am openly homophobic. They do kind of scare me sometimes when they start talking about the butt stuff. There was this flamboyantly gay Jewish dude who went up at the comedy show I go to all the time the other day. He had these big, ridiculous glasses on. And he went up on stage and started talking about, banging this Asian dude who was sticking fingers up his butt. And the whole bit was about how he requested more and more fingers until his entire hand was up his ass. And then he told him to put the other hand in and clap. And that was the joke. And I was very, I was mortified. Because I just picture these people having to transition to diapers very early in their life because they can't hold back that, that thing that your butt is traditionally used for. The whole excrement process there kind of gets ruined by all the butt play. You lose all your elasticity, and then you got to wear that man diaper. Young male prostitutes sitting at bus stops in Hollywood, where there's a lot of psycho homeless people having full-on arguments and conversations with themselves at bus stops. That's a lot of the bus stop shit I see, I do Postmates in West Hollywood a lot, so I do, I inevitably go into a butt stuff heavy establishment, and they end up hitting on me. Something about my look, dude. They flock to me. The gay people are just real excited about me. I'm trying to find a woman who loves me as much as the average West Hollywood, fairy out here. Because the average West Hollywood fairy, they just flap right over to me. Oh, hi, what's your name? What up, DK? Your PewDiePie stream. What do you mean PewDiePie stream? Are you PewDiePie or are you not? Yeah, that's weird, gay Kali Yuga. Gay men like turning straight men. Like, I thought it was genetic. I thought it wasn't a choice. They're always trying to dig that gay out of you. It seems like that's the majority of the Hollywood comics right now. Like, every joke is a gay joke. The Fighter and the Kid podcast, every podcast is, Brian Callen trying to suck Brendan Schaub's dick, and that's the height of hilarity. Everything is about a dick, Like, yeah, that was funny in the locker room in high school. Now it's like, can we talk about something else? It's like this obsession with assholes and dicks. People are just so sodomy centric. They get sucked into the sodomy wormhole. Kelly lives in downtown Phoenix, I think that is. You said PDX. I don't know what PDX is, but it might be Phoenix, because that D is pretty close to the H on the keyboard there. Archer identifies as a black attack helicopter, chambered in 70 caliber millimeter fully semi-automatic revolver with a high capacity magazine clip. Whoa. Goddamn if that's not, toxically masculine. Cringe comedy is where it's at. Yeah, everybody's socially awkward because nobody has any standards for who they associate with. And so they end up with in these weird social circles where nobody knows how to relate to each other. It's multiculturalism and diversity and let's hang out with trans people and butt pumpers, and it's and nobody has anything in common, so everybody's trying not to offend everybody else, and that's supposed to be the height of progress. Nobody can make any jokes because you might hurt somebody's feelings. And so it's that's what cringe comedy comes from, is social awkwardness, because people are crammed together unnaturally, and nobody knows how to communicate culturally. Nobody has any reference they can communicate with. And it's Sweet Chin says, Brendan Schaub called McGregor's comment of Khabib's wife racist. More people are offended of Conor's towel comment than Khabib's treatment of women as second-hand citizens. Yeah, because, it's just his religious beliefs. There's no objective standard of what's weird and what's normal, right? So you just have to accept everything everyone does. And even if Conor McGregor makes a joke about his wife being a towel, oh my God, you have offended the religion of peace. You could make fun of Christians all day long, but Islam, there's nothing wrong with Islam. What it is there's also a huge Muslim population here in Los Angeles, which I didn't realize when I came out here, but it's kind of weird. There's a huge Muslim population it's one of the biggest in the world, or biggest in the 50 states, at least here in America. And so there's this desire to treat Islam like just another religion, but at the same time they don't make fun of it nearly as ruthlessly as they do Christians, because they don't have any balls, they don't have any standards. And so it's just, who's gonna fight back when I make fun of them? The Christians are not gonna fight back. They've made that pretty clear. They're turning the other cheek. You can talk shit about Christians all day long. That's pretty much all. When the late night people aren't making fun of Trump, they're making fun of Christians. When the Netflix comedians aren't making fun of Trump, they're making fun of Christians. Because Christians don't counterpunch in general. They just let shit roll off their back, and they're like, well, we're just trying to be good people, and we'll just have our families and try to be good, and please don't make fun of us. It hurts our feelings. And everybody's like, yeah, fuck you. Jesus wasn't a zombie, you dumb piece of shit. Applause sign, applause sign, applause sign. But making fun of the Muzzies, that might get some blowback. Oh, what up, Zemu? Yeah, Christians are all about forgiveness. They're all about, being open and tolerant to everybody else. That's why it doesn't take any balls to make fun of Christians. But Islam, they spread that message by the sword. They're trying to subvert that culture. They're trying to get in and get into the institutions and, have that creepy little caliphate going on. And so they're really sensitive about anybody pointing out their schemes. All right? They don't want you pointing out that Muhammad married a 6-year-old and fucked her when she was 9. Well, Anonymous Anarchy, you're talking about you can make fun of Christians way more than you can make fun of Jews, because he put Christians in parentheses as if, you know. Denise says, we try to think about why they are being unnice to us. It keeps you out of the fray. I don't know what you mean by that, but there's just not nearly the blowback, because Christians in general don't have a lot of in-group preference. It's generally white people from a bunch of different ethnic backgrounds. It's like German, I'm German. What up, AJ? It's like, I'm German, this dude's Italian, this dude's British. We're all like kind of, you know, Euro-Christian, vaguely. But there's not this intense in-group preference like with Judaism and Islam. You know, because they rep their own teams. They're like, yeah, fucking us. Yeah. Let's win some shit, you know, for Allah, for Yahweh, you know. And the Christians are like, well, I'm German, he's Italian, he's British. You know, can't really bring myself to give a fuck for some reason. I don't know. We just want to accept everybody. I want everybody to accept Jesus Christ. Just, we're not going to force it on anybody. We do have a separation of church and state. And, you know, the Muslim countries are like, no, fuck you. We have Islamic State. We have Sharia law. You must comply or we chop your fucking head off. And the Israelis are like, yeah, we have a religious territory that's our state. And we really don't want to let anybody else in. All right? Because this is the Holy Land, and this is our shit. And so there's this fierce in-group preference, but Christians don't have that. But the openness of Christianity, the universality of it, has allowed it to flourish, because in history, it's lended itself to small governments. When the separation of church and state happened, it's lended itself to having a higher standard than just believing whatever the king said. It's like, no, I have a personal relationship with God and Jesus and morality, so I'm not just going to take what the king says at face value. And then the whole Lutheran Revolution happened, and people started reading the Bible for themselves, and it was kind of a democratization of religion. It wasn't handed down from the state. You had your own personal relationship with spirituality and with religion. And so that lended itself to making the government smaller and smaller, and that led to the Enlightenment, that led to Thomas Jefferson, to 1776, and to where we are now. But as governments do, they tend to get bigger and bigger and bigger if they're not checked. And Christianity has declined. And as Christianity has declined and atheism has risen, the government has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I am an atheist, but I'm also an anarchist. Typically, atheists are big government, communistic fucking creeps, which I don't support that at all, because they just transferred the religion over from Christianity to the religion of government. And, oh, we can't trust God or Jesus to help us in our lives, so the government has to help everybody. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'd much rather take the Christian side of that, because, you know, God and Jesus aren't here to rifle through my pockets and call it virtuous. Steal my money and call it taxation. Jesus flipped the tables on the money changers, baby. Another beer. But that's why I don't talk very much shit about Christians, even though I'm an atheist, is because we share a lot of the same beliefs in wanting a small government. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I don't fundamentally give a fuck what your metaphysical beliefs about the universe are. Like, just believe whatever you want to believe, because the Christians aren't going to impose it on you through the government. And they're not the ones calling for, an end to the First Amendment. Like, that's one thing about the Jews and the Muslims. They both are really sensitive to anybody criticizing what they believe. And so they try to get them shut down. Raw Dog, you talking about Christians trying to censor? That shit is long gone, dude. There's no Christian censorship anymore. I mean, porn is 90% of the internet. You think if the Christians wanted to, they would try to get rid of porn on the internet? It's not like everybody says fuck, shit, cunt, cocksucker, and motherfucker all over all the main media that people watch now. All of the internet media, none of that shit is censored. That was the main censorship that happened in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s of Christians trying to, get rid of foul language and sexuality. That completely failed. What up, Alan James? But what's more important? The ability to be able to say fuck, shit, cocksucker, and motherfucker, or the ability to point out that Muhammad was a pedophile and that there's no separation of church and state in Islam, or that, Judaism doesn't really have a rock solid moral system that they follow, and a lot of them are atheists, and so they tend toward Machiavellian power lust. And so the Muslim and the Jew censorship is a lot more nefarious than the Christians, I think. Denise says, Nick, actress Robia Lamorte said that Los Angeles has so many different religions, spiritualisms, cults, and flavors of occultism. True? Yeah, and nobody, nobody has objective morality out here. It's all subjective. There's all these psychic stores out here, like little psychic shops where you can go in and have your fortune read, and everybody's just lost out here when it comes to ethics. Nobody knows what the fuck they believe, and so it's all about the religion of leftism and the religion of being tolerant to anyone who doesn't want freedom. If you want big government, we're tolerant. But if you want freedom, oh, now you're a bigot. So it's very fractured, the ethics out here in California. And that's just how the Jews want it. All right? They want us at each other's throats while they collect all the shekels. All right, I'm going to come back and read some comments. One more outrage piss. And no, I do not sit down when I pee. God damn it. I don't want any rumors getting started. All right, just a reminder, paypal.me/Outrage TV. If you want to leave me a comment, and I will for sure have a rant on it. How dare you, raw dog? I keep my undercarriage clean, but that has nothing to do with the strength of the outrage flow. All right, I will have you know. My mom wears Oklahoma boots. I don't know. Is that some kind of inside insult? Just pay your taxes, you slaves. We're all slaves to the men in small hats at the Federal Reserve until it gets pointed out. The outrage crew, you're rowdy, and that's how I like it, dude. You know? We keep it unruly, all right? We keep it politically incorrect. That's how it should be. That's why I only go to the Fourth Wall Comedy Club in North Hollywood. I don't go to any other of these Hollywood mics because anything goes at the Fourth Wall. You know. I went up on stage tonight and talked about how I'm not guilty for being white and I don't have pride for being white. And I talked shit to Kyle Korver for saying he's white and privileged in the NBA. If there's one sector of the society that you should recognize you don't have white privilege, it's the motherfucking NBA. Getting dunked on and swatted and crossed up left and right. You got LeBron's balls in your mouth and you think you're privileged. You learned a stand-up comedy thing. What you talking about, Denise? Yes, Burgess, everything is going according to plan. Everything is going according to the plan, ladies and gentlemen. Because the leftists have no staying power, you know? They got no principles, they got no mission in their life. They're just off doing, you know, all the drugs they can, doing all the butt pumping, you know? They're gonna fall by the wayside, all right? And the people who eat steak and broccoli and do squats and defend Western civilization are gonna be left standing. It feels weird being in the first generation to really, you know, have a life without the internet and then have the internet hit like right when I hit puberty. Like, man, a lot of people in my generation they fell to the porn, you know, because it's that you got to have that discipline, dude. You know, because I had 10 years to grow up as a normal little kid, and then boom, the internet hit, and I had, you know, almost instant access to some porn. What up, Nitai? You know, and I fell prey to it, man, for damn near a decade. Little more than a decade, dude. I got the slight curve in my dick to prove it. All right, it perfectly contours to my right hand. All right, and that's a daily reminder to not let the Jews tempt me. You know? But it's hard when you're 11 and 12 and you got instant access to titties. And it's like, man, same thing with the whole BitTorrent thing. Like, I can just get any movie for free. Why would I pay for anything? Any movie or any music? You know? Kind of feel bad doing it at a certain point because I'm trying to write movies out here. You know, I'm trying to make stand-up specials and make some money from it. You know, but stand-up, the money is always going to be in the live performance. Because it's a whole different experience when you're live in person. But the movies thing, I mean, I have allegedly torrented a lot of goddamn movies over the past, decade or so, and I've managed to avoid any legal repercussions. And I'm not saying I feel great about it, but I've been thoroughly entertained. But yeah, the leftists don't have staying power, dude. They're all whacking it to porn. They're doing nefarious drugs. They're butt pumping. They're swiping on the dating apps. They're not committed. They're not committed to any type of real purpose or mission in their life. And so it's just all about tearing down everything they see before them that triggers them. And so that type of mind state does not last. Especially once they start making a little bit of money somewhere and see the taxes that are being taken out. Oh yeah, I haven't seen one female comic say anything meaningful on stage in a long time. It's all about fucking and their vagina and, relationship problems and blah blah blah. Men are so toxic. I think it's hard, man. It's hard because they feel like they got to distinguish themselves from the men in comedy, and it's unfortunate because they don't feel like they can just go up there and tell jokes. It's like they gotta tell jokes from a feminine perspective. No, I haven't witnessed any joke stealing because, I'm still in the open mic circuit. A lot of people are just trying to figure shit out. And, I've heard some similar premises, like that people may have lifted from other comics, but it's like, I don't know. I haven't seen any egregious examples of it. Protect our women from being whorish. Yeah, it's important, dude, but it's rough when the government provides you a safety net called the welfare state if you happen to accidentally get pregnant. And they also, they got the abortion clinics, and so until they face actual repercussions or social shaming for it, it's not going to change. It's a problem, but I just say the men got to take responsibility for the shit and wrap it up. Because anytime you point out something that females need to change or get better at, there's something that men could do to remedy the situation and provide some leadership that could help the situation. So men got to take responsibility for their own shit. They can't badger women about throwing their pussy around. That's only going to make them do it more. Respect Amy Schumer more than Joe Rogan? I don't know. Joe just has very glaring blind spots when it comes to economics and when it comes to personal responsibility. Amy Schumer, I don't know. She's not even on my radar. She's like insignificant to me. She's just going with the feminist narrative and like, you know, pandering to that ideology. Rogan, at the same time, he does provide a decent example for a version of masculinity. And he does appear to be rational on the surface, but when you're promoting universal basic income and you've never studied a lick of economics in your fucking life, it's like, that's irresponsible as a motherfucker. And he's just constantly making you know, he's right up there with, you know, the constant dick jokes, the constant asshole jokes, the constant you know, reaffirming of sodomy, and the constant pushing of weed and psychedelics. And I don't know, at a certain point, you know, you just outgrow Joe Rogan. That's what's happened. You got to move on and realize there are higher things in society than, you know, Joe Rogan's curiosity about butt pumping. Joe Rogan questions everything except ass play. Except the forced redistribution of wealth. Oh man, I don't even want to watch a review of Amy Schumer's special. I might catch an STD just from them playing clips. I don't even want to get near that nuclear waste site she calls a vagina. They got a new pill for guys to avoid getting girls pregnant? Oh shit, Raw Dog. That might be revolutionary. Now that's something that could save society. Because women are always deceptive about whether or not they're on the pill. You know? Guys never want to put the condom on. You wonder how you would think you would handle it if you felt someone took a joke from a friend of yours. I would say something about it. You know, just to see if it was parallel thinking or if they, you know, were actually up to some shit, just to get their reaction. Yeah, that's hilarious. Netflix took the rating system down because everybody hated Amy Schumer's special. Oh, they want equality, but they don't want to be judged in the marketplace of equality. You're supposed to be equal, but when people decide you suck, you don't want to. You want to bow out at that point. Condoms are rough, man. You know, but you got. I suck it up, man. I use the condoms. Unless I know the girl I'm fucking has an IED, or I know for a fact she's on the pill. Even then, dude, a little bit of pre-cum can go a long way. Cause I got soldier sperm, all right. I got Viking DNA. So my shit's gonna get through. I gotta be extra careful. See, I'm that consensual Genghis Khan, all right? Next thing you know, I could be, spread my genetics to, a third of the population of the planet and not even realize it. I look at women and they get pregnant, you know? Well, Burgess, I mean, if you're banging Jeff Bezos' ex-wife and you're inheriting that $35 billion, I wouldn't be afraid of getting her pregnant. But I'm not trying to, be an absentee father and father a bunch of, young rebellious gangbangers. Trying to benefit society with my arguments and then find one lovely lady with, exceptionally curvaceous hips, exceptionally curvaceous childbearing hips, who wants to stay home and raise my kids and keep them out of public school. That's my plan. I'm trying to find Kim Kardashian who doesn't want to be famous. Get an Asian. I dated a Chinese chick back in Oklahoma. She was that exchange student. That shit was fun. She was posing with my dick doing the Chinese shit on her phone. She could cook up some mean fried rice, She would take me to the Asian market. We bought seaweed. I couldn't figure out why, Apparently it's got some minerals in there. We ate some spicy eggplant. That shit was delicious. Cheers to you, Denise. Homeschooled 4 children. That is the ultimate benefit to society. Cheers to you, Denise. That is beautiful. But I fucked the situation up with the Chinese chick, when I decided, being in a relationship with her wasn't good enough, and I decided to propose the idea of having a threesome. And it ended up, she just broke down crying, and I felt really bad. Not how I, envisioned it turning out. But they still got programmed to an extent. Yeah, I don't know how you, because, it's all over social media. It's all over the TV. Like this conditioning into leftism, into hating yourself as a white person, into the victim mentality of everybody except white people and like women in general. Like, it's tough, man. I don't know how you instill the correct values in a kid to have them be immune from that shit. It's got to be, I don't know, man. You just got to teach them that rational, critical thinking and let them evaluate it for themselves and hope for the best and keep them away from the main toxicity of the public schools. Well, I don't know if cartoons are more perverted than they used to be. Looney Tunes was pretty hardcore. There was a lot of, sexual suggestion and a lot of violence in Looney Tunes. At a certain point, it's just entertainment. You got to let them have a little bit of fun. I think as long as you keep them away from the public school and keep them away from porn, it should be fine. Teach them about the non-aggression principle. Teach them that government is the problem. All right? Freedom is the answer. Disney is downright MK Ultra. Oh shit. I was never a Disney kid. I was a Nickelodeon kid, you know. The subversion that I was into was the Ren and Stimpy. I was into that Ren and Stimpy. I was into Rugrats. I was into Rocko's Modern Life. You know? I was into Cat Dog. What else? Angry Beavers. Angry Beavers was fucking hilarious. Yeah, if society would abide by the rules we're all taught in kindergarten, everything would be fine. Don't hit other kids and don't steal their toys. All right, but the government can't seem to abide by those rules. They want to go over and you know, hit the other kids in the Middle East, you know. They want to, you know, start these benevolent things called wars that are legalized murder. You know, they want to go over and hit all the brown kids in the Middle East. And they want to steal all of the American public's toys out of their bank accounts. All we need is kindergarten morality to have a free society, and people just get propagandized into accepting it. Don't hit, don't steal. It's pretty goddamn simple, people. But they have this justification. That's that religion of government, you know, that gets hammered into their heads. That anything the government does is acceptable. There's this group of people that hang out in white buildings that get to do whatever they want. They're different from you and me. They represent us, but they're fundamentally our overlords. It's like, just teach your kids rational consistency and, you know, point out the evils in society. And it's like, you got to hope that they're going to continue on from there. Oh, AJ was on that Kool-Aid and cookies, baby. Ooh-wee. You know, in grade school, we had a pizza party one time, and we had a substitute teacher. He ended up being a cool guy. I had him as a teacher later in life, but I think it was like in 4th grade or something, 4th or 5th grade. We had a pizza party at the end of the school year we were all looking forward to. And he was, this substitute teacher came in for the last half of the year because our teacher was pregnant. And he came in and he was about 350 pounds or more. He came in and had an entire pizza to himself, and all the kids in class were left with one slice apiece. And goddamn, that was a travesty. That was a lesson. That was a lesson in socialism right there, dude. We all had to stand in the pizza line, like Bernie Sanders' bread lines, and eat our one meager slice. All right, while the tyrant there behind his teacher desk had all the pizza he desired. And we had to watch Gone with the Wind. That was our big movie, our big pizza party movie extravaganza. One piece of pizza, and Gone with the Wind. I was so pissed, dude. I was so pissed. Bobby Lee is a sneaky Chinaman. He's Korean, bruh. Oh, Sweet Chin says, Bobby Lee is real shady. Wouldn't be surprised if Lee actually helped Mencia steal jokes. Yeah, they're real weird and subversive. You know, not much logos happening there. A whole lot of nonsense. That's like in the absence of any objective moral standards or ethical standards or any like, you know, comedians with a real ethic that go up there and talk about truth and really be honest. It's really just all about how debaucherous and nasty your stories are. That's like how fucked up you are as a person is like how great you are as a comic. And it's like Richard Pryor was great, um, but he kind of kicked that off in the sense that, you know, how fucked up you are and how much pain and trauma you've been through is like, and then the stories you tell about it on stage is like how great of a comic you are. And it's like, is that really the highest ideal we want to shoot for? Is like being the most fucked up, debaucherous, weirdo, subversive motherfucker, and that's who's the best comic? I mean, the truth telling comedian has kind of been, you know, lost. The closest things we have are Louis C.K. and Bill Burr. And it's like, I don't know, Louis C.K. is obsessed with beating off in front of people, and Bill Burr married a feminist, you know, weirdo. And there are no Patrice O'Neills left. I mean, Doug Stanhope doesn't tell truth to power anymore. All he does is talk about how his fucking body is failing and how many maintenance drinks he needs per day. And it's like, okay, we get it. You're fucked up, Doug. Um, Yeah, Bill Burr lost his balls to his feminist wife. If you go back and listen to early Bill, like Bill Burr, he posts like some classics from his used to be, from how his podcast used to be. And dude, when he was a single guy, he used to go hard in the fucking paint against feminists and he was you know, touching on some deep truths when he got into conspiracy theories. He would call them conspiracy theories, but he was touching on, why are we letting everybody spy on us? Why is, you know, he would be anti-government with a lot of his shit. But now you just listen to his podcast and it's all about meaningless stories from the road. It's all about like, you know, F1 racing and like soccer, and it's like, who gives a fuck? It's like, it's all about sports. It's like, okay, like your only value is like your Boston like shit talking cadence when you talk, and it's like you're not touching on anything meaningful whatsoever. You can point out that Michelle Obama is fake. Like, there are no legitimate truth-telling comedians anymore. Andrew Scholes, I watched a few clips of his new special. He's out there rocking it. He's doing the real thing. Who else? Man, it's that's why I'm so optimistic, is because everybody, you go back, those are the legendary, most revered comics like Patrice and George Carlin and early Doug Stanhope and Bill Hicks, because they're not just making you laugh, they're touching on something that's profound and that needs to be said, and it's dangerous to say. And we need that shit in comedy, because that's the last bastion of free speech, to be able to go and exaggerate shit and really like make stuff clear for people to see in a comedic way. it's a crucial part of society that's not being fulfilled right now through these horseshit comedians on Netflix who just want to talk about shit in their pants stories and how Trump is the most evil thing that's ever happened, and how we need to accept butt fucking in our daily lives. Like, exactly. I love Norm Macdonald to death. Early Norm Macdonald, but he's lost it, man. He's just become an old man who's gotten kind of fat and started apologizing to these feminist cunts on The View. You lost me, Norm. You'll always be a legend for that shit you did, but it's no more. Put a fork in Norm, he's done. And it's sad to see. All right, we're having fun here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do one more beer with you. Why the fuck not? It's the Outrage crew. We're unruly as hell. What up, James Smith? Yeah, dude. We're missing that. We're missing that truth-telling comedian. And it's because nobody has objective standards for how to measure what the fuck is happening in society. Nobody has ethics that they stand by. Everything is about materialism and, moral relativism and just doing what appeases the mob and trying not to offend people. That's the antithesis of comedy. That's why you can go to Netflix and face plane through a special. Because it's all pandering. It's all safe. Dave Chappelle does take risks. But he balances it out by playing into this, black nationalist, like pseudo-Muslim, like anti-white thing, and like playing up the whole racist cops narrative. Oh yeah, and I can't forget Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin is the real fucking deal. I can't leave him out. He's rocking it real independent. You got to respect that motherfucker. Truthfully, if I'm being real honest, he makes me laugh out loud more on his podcast than he does on stage and stand-up. But he's a skilled motherfucker. And for sure he gets everything that's going on in society, and he has the right impulse to tell the truth on stage. And that's all you need. So Owen Benjamin is definitely, I'd say he's probably at the top of comics that are rocking it real authentic style. Yeah, his podcasts are so, like, I hope he starts drinking again soon. Because, like, man, some of those rants he would go on about how short Joe Rogan is and, like, and the Jews, and like, man, he just, and his style of just like yelling at the camera and like just saying shit with a plain face. Like, I couldn't say a lot of that shit with a plain face. But yeah, I mean, the whole transition he's made into getting so Jesus heavy has not been enjoyable for me to listen to. Because there's a kind of detachment from pursuing the truth to like just accepting a pre-packaged ideology and saying that's the truth now, and not providing any arguments, and not like you're just saying, oh, God and Jesus is the way. And it's like, I understand that to a degree, but it's just a little disappointing from a guy that with a 147 IQ. Like, I don't think the right does themselves any favors with being so Jesus heavy. I know it's a good moral system, but getting on board the metaphysics doesn't lend itself to critical thinking. And I do understand he's had a lot of stressful shit happen in his life. I couldn't imagine being where he was and then getting all of that shit taken away from him by just sticking with your ethics, you know. And fundamentally he's a really good dude, you can tell. And I wish him all the best. And I've sent him emails, you know, wanting to work with him and wanting to open for him and everything. He's one of the most hardcore truth tellers in comedy. It's just a little disappointing when you get on board this whole thing with his counter argument to atheism is so baseline and so nonsense. Like, all he says is, oh, so you're saying something came from nothing, atheists? And it's like, no, that's not what atheism has. Nothing to do with the Big Bang. All atheism does is debunk the metaphysics. And yes, Denise, live your life like Jesus lived his life. You'll be a great person. Take your moral examples from Jesus, by all means. I'm just saying he wasn't a magical wizard who was the son of God and turned water into wine and rose from the dead. Be a moral actor in the world. You know, by all means, take the morality from the Christian stories and use it in your life. You know, and you'll be a great person. But you're not going to get me to buy into this magical horse shit. I think it does Christianity a disservice. Magic isn't real. Right? David Copperfield isn't really sawing that bitch in half in the coffin. David Blaine may really impress black people with his card tricks on the sidewalk, but it's all fabricated. Where do the eggs come from if the Easter Bunny isn't real? Oh, dude. No, I'm not comparing Jesus to Copperfield. I'm saying the religious metaphysics are tantamount to magical horseshit. And it doesn't do the morals a service to try to cloak them in this wizardry. My main point is I love Owen Benjamin, and he's one of the rawest, realest comedians out there. And I wish him nothing but success. And I see a lot of opportunity in comedy right now for people who have an ethical system that they operate on, and they can call out bullshit on the fly. And they don't need to pre-process it and manipulate everybody to not offend anybody and just be tolerant of the Muslims and the Jews and the blacks and it's all this never-ending pandering, and you shouldn't punch down in comedy, and well, you are a fucking straight white male, and so you're at the tippy top of the pyramid of power and privilege, and so you can't punch down at anybody else that's oppressed. You can't make fun of anybody else, so you can't do comedy as a fucking straight white male. Sometimes that's how it feels on stage. Is like, you know, if I go up there and talk about my struggles in life, they're like, oh my God, poor white guy. Oh, you're really struggling. It's like, yeah, I was born into a lower middle class household. I was born into a trailer park in Oklahoma. All right. And I've come to Hollywood to spread the news about your horse shit. Yeah. Wake up. So I didn't have a silver fucking spoon in my mouth, despite the fact that I look like an Aryan polo player. All right. And also, if I go up there and speak truth to power, and make fun of, you know, the diversity agenda, make fun of leftists, make fun of the mainstream media, make fun of people who hate Trump, then it's like, oh, he's an oppressive asshole. Oh. And so it's like, it's weird, this box that you get put in as a straight white guy who's trying to go up there and be raw and honest. But that's ultimately what it's got to be, is you got to be so raw and so honest and so truthful that they know you're not lying. Thomas Jeff. This is why I love when Thomas Jeff comes on the podcast commenting, dude. We all used to be white and then we got mixed with monkeys. I'll let you guess. Spoken like a true Enlightenment philosopher. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, man. Oh, is that the new Anunnaki theory, that they came down from another planet and mixed up the white humanoid genes with the monkeys there, and then we got all the oppressed classes? So terrible, dude. Oh, fuck, that made me laugh. Oh my God. I've never actually seen Steven Crowder do stand-up. He always says he's a comedian, but it's like I've never even seen him do stand-up. Yeah, if you want to make it in Hollywood, bend over and grab your ankles. Well, we're changing that culture, dude. We're changing that culture right around. All right? Because I'm going up, and the motherfuckers feel the realness. All right? They feel the realness when I go on stage, and people are craving the authenticity. And the leftists, they're fundamentally, a lot of them are women, but they're fundamentally just like women. You know, they want to be led. They're looking for a leader, all right? And so I'm coming out here. I'm telling the truth. I'm raw. I'm right up in your face. I don't give a fuck. And I'm telling you the truth with no chaser. And before long, I'm going to break their will. All right? I'm going to break their will. I'm going to fuck them till they love me. And then I'm going to flex on them. All right, it's all a progress. It's all a process. It's slowly unfolding as reality reveals itself to people. And before long, you know, I'm not taking the Owen Benjamin route. I respect Owen Benjamin, but I'm not moving out of here.
I'm not going and getting some obscure house in the country and growing vegetables. No, I'm going to show these leftists how to make it in the environments that they value. I'm going to tell the truth on stage, and I'm going to have a Ferrari, and I'm going to be slinging dick all around town, dude. Because I'm going to show them that you don't have to bow down to the Jews to stunt. I'm going to show them how to do it, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show them how to stunt, dude. I'm not letting the butt pumpers take me down. All right? They can't break the will of the dragon energy. Because fundamentally, you know, they can talk all they want about how they hate toxic masculinity and, oh my God, a white male oppressor. Fundamentally, it gets the pussy wet. All right? They can only be attracted to it. Because these people are lost out here. They don't have a direction. They want desperately, subconsciously, to be led. All right? And so, I'm going to show them the way. All right? Whether they like it or not, kicking and screaming, I'm going to drag them toward the light of illumination. And I'm going to show them that you can have a great career without selling out. And it's going to piss all of the subverters off, dude. And that's just part of the game. If you're not pissing the subverters off, what are you really doing? Sometimes you gotta flex on them. Starved woman's for 2 days, will broken. Exactly, Thomas Jeff. Exactly. You know, you got to flex your nuts. Stop giving them what they want. Tell them no. Detach. Do your own thing. That's what we're doing now. Like, I went up, 2 weeks before Trump got elected and made jokes about him grabbing pussy. And when you got your private jet with your name on the side of it, when you got gold-plated buildings with your name on the side of it, you kind of got to grab pussy to keep it from hitting you in the face because it's coming 100 miles an hour at you, and you got to protect yourself. And I was talking about this shit on the Hollywood Improv stage 2 weeks before Trump got elected, and I knew he was going to get elected, and people were pissed. But then motherfuckers ran up to me after the show and were like, "Oh my God, that was so ballsy. How did you do that?" And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I don't give a fuck. And so you got to show them the way. All right? And the subversion is slowly unfolding into nothingness. They don't have staying power. All right? So I'm going to put the flex on them and show them how to do it. I'm going to show them how to stunt. But you disconnect. That's what I'm doing. I disconnected from the main clubs, and I went over to the Fourth Wall in North Hollywood, and I've been working shop every night. Every night I've been working shop, honing the craft, sharpening the sword, getting better, getting more dragon energy, getting more fierce, getting more confident on stage, dude. I'm in the fucking dojo, dude, training like Batman Begins. This is Batman Begins you're all watching, dude. I'm training in the dojo. And before you know it, I'm going to step out into the Hollywood scene like Neo. And they're going to shoot all the bullets at me. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. Oh, you're a misogynist. And I'm going to fucking stop them bullets. And all the bullets are going to drop. And then I'm going to win. And they're going to be like, how did you do that? And I'm like, sorry. You ran into the one. You ran into the wrong one. And they're going to realize that you don't have to sell out. You don't have to suck Harvey Weinstein's dick to get in a movie. You don't have to butt pump and talk about sodomy and your dick and shit in your pants to get on stage. You don't have to hate Trump to get stage time. We're going to show them, baby, and you guys are right in at the root of it. And cheers to you bad motherfuckers, because we're going to make it happen. I'm out here training in the motherfucking dojo. This is Batman Begins, dude, and the Dark Knight is about to rise. Because if I got you bad motherfuckers behind me, I got a foundation, I got a base, I got an audience that's behind me. And that can't be broken. Cheers, Outragians, to breaking the backs of the cultural Marxists. Oh, isn't it so delicious? Trump was only the beginning. Oh, winter is coming, leftists. Have you prepared for the winter? Have you been on your K-selected future planning, leftists? I think they might run out of food in the winter. All right? They don't have the staying power. They don't have the dragon energy. They don't have the direction. All right? They're not prepared for this fight. But we here at Outrage TV, we're battle tested. All right? None of these subverters can take us down. We stop the bullets and we drop them to the floor. We're giving them blankets of smallpox. Stay warm, leftists. Oh, it's so fun, dude. Owen Benjamin says it all the time. Nobody's having more fun than us. All right? They're sitting in their, in their coffin apartments stressing out about Trump's latest tweet and, the white males and, No staying power. No dragon energy. They're wondering if they should, chop their cock off. We're keeping our cocks. All right, here at Outrage TV. I talked about Julian Assange a little bit earlier, AJ. That's just what happens when you tell the truth about government. And you don't do it in joke form. They can't fundamentally take you down if you're making a room full of people laugh. But if you're somewhere in, a Swedish country sitting behind a laptop and you expose a bunch of bullshit about government, well, then they're going to come and arrest you. All right? And they're going to try to frame you for, some sexual allegations. And you're going to end up growing a wizard beard and looking like Elmer Fudd getting dragged out of the embassy. Hopefully Trump pardons him because he was instrumental in getting Trump elected, publishing the information that Seth Rich sent him. So hopefully Trump pays him respect and pardons him. But that we have the the luxury of, the protection of comedy. Because comedy as an institution is built for talking truth to power. The court jester is a figure in history for a reason. Because he could not be killed by the king because he was funny. If you're funny, you can't be killed by the king, because then the king immediately reveals himself as a tyrant. All right? Because if you're making a room full of people laugh, then you automatically have the upper hand, and you can't be taken down. You're bulletproof. Yeah, Trump has kind of distanced himself from Assange, and it's really unsettling. I hope he reverses course on that and pardons him, because Assange is a good guy. He's been proven right in spades, and everything he's published, they have a perfect record of publishing data. They haven't been, found to be fraudulent in anything they've said. They've just literally exposed criminality in the government. And that's what a lot of what Trump ran on, is drain the swamp. There's a lot of criminality in government. Obama and Hillary are the founders of ISIS. There was a kernel of truth in that Obama funded and armed and trained ISIS in the Middle East. There were supposed to be rebels in Syria and Libya. That's treasonous behavior. All right? And it led to the collapse of 2 countries. So, if anybody should recognize the importance of pointing out criminality in government, it should be fucking Donald Trump. So, he has no right to say Julian Assange needs to be prosecuted. He needs to pardon Julian Assange and recognize his value as, Trump calls the mainstream media the enemy of the people, and they are, because they're propagandists, and they lie, and they smear, and they spin, and they are the legitimate enemy of the people. Julian Assange is the direct, diametrically opposed opposite of that. He is a legitimate journalist. He exposes what nobody wants exposed. He tells the truth where nobody else is willing to tell the truth. And that's why people send shit to WikiLeaks to be pushed out there. Hopefully Assange will be okay, man. He's a patriot. All right? And he's banging that Pamela Anderson pussy. We all got to respect that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of brew. I'm out of beers. I'm out of booze. Oh, it's been a fun one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow me on Instagram at I am Nick Jordan. Or, excuse me. Scratch that. Follow me on Instagram at Nick Jordan himself. Nick Jordan himself on Instagram. Follow me at I am Nick Jordan on Twitter. I am Nick Jordan on Twitter. I will post a full podcast audio on all the podcast apps under Outrage Cast. Please, if you want to donate to the Dragon Energy Fund, PayPal.me/Outrage TV. Bitcoin address is in the description below. If you got Bitcoin, you want to share the love. Like it if you like it. Share this motherfucker out if you want to share with family and friends. Get the word out. We here trying to take over Hollywood independently, dude. We're trying to have that, what the deep state tried to do to Trump, we're doing to Hollywood. All right, we're having that outrage coup. It's the outrage coup of Hollywood. We're coming in and taking shit over. And we're stunting, baby. You know what the fuck it is.
like it's better when I'm fucked up again. See my royalty checks, the reverse for Liberace. Stuck so hard, everybody gotta watch me.
Stunt so hard, all the communists gotta watch me. That's what it is, baby. Outrage TV. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Hit that alert bell. You know, I go live on Instagram before all the streams. Let y'all know when the shit is popping off. But for now, I'll be back tomorrow night, rocking it out with you bad motherfuckers. Cheers to y'all. Glad to be, here with you bad motherfuckers and part of the takeover. You're here at the roots, and we only growing from here, baby. Peace the fuck out, ladies and gentlemen. Have a beautiful night.